Mental health matters now more than ever.
People across mid-Michigan opening up and sharing their stories of grief, resiliency, and hope.
They want you to know you're not alone.
Presented by Community Mental Health Authority of Clinton, Eaton, and Ingham counties.
From veterans coping with the horrors of the battlefield to families turning tragedy into hope, tonight we're bringing you stories to inspire and empower you. Good evening, everyone. I'm David Andrews.
And I'm Ann Emmerich. We start with the story of a 15-year-old boy whose suicide sparked a new foundation fighting to save children's lives. The story of Eli's legacy tonight in this You're Not Alone mental health special.
Yo! That thing's sick.
A boy with a big smile and a big personality who loved life.
Love to be outdoors, love to, hike and, be out on the water.
A boy who seemed to have it all, a loving family and friends. From the outside, Eli Fleetwood looked like a healthy, happy boy. Inside, he struggled. That private pain leading him to take his own life.
He had been doing really well and then, had a night where he, made some bad choices and, unfortunately, I think that was just, kind of the thing that pushed him over the edge.
It was gut-wrenching. It was awful. I didn't think it was real.
For Eli's sister Allie and friend Raina, it's hard to understand. A lively, lovable boy gone without a goodbye.
I don't think he realized how many people loved him. Everybody loved him.
Love couldn't heal the pain. As a young child, Eli dealt with uncertainty and loss. He and his two sisters went into foster care when he was 3. They were all adopted by their foster parents who later divorced. And as Eli got older, his mental health issues became more challenging. Then, a pediatric doctor came into the family.
I knew, him and his family and had worked with, his mom on, some of his injuries and, kind of talking about, some of his, struggles with mental health. And after, Eli needed, a little bit more care, it was kind of, a partnership that his mom and I struck up.
Dr. Zach Goldstein tapped into every resource he could find to help Eli. The pair shared a lot of the same interests, among them hiking and the great outdoors.
Yeah, that's him and Huna.
Goldstein was in the process of becoming Eli's legal guardian.
He certainly loved his jerseys.
They were just about to move into a new home when Eli died. His bedroom, all set up for a new start, remains untouched.
You can really feel his presence here, because this is where he'd want to be.
Eli Fleetwood may be gone, but his legacy is very much alive in Eli's project. The new foundation that bears his name is bringing people together with family-friendly events to start a tough conversation and connect families with help.
I'm excited for the landscape to change where parents can feel, really supported in, their children's mental health struggles.
Dr. Goldstein founded the nonprofit, which meets families where they are and gets kids talking about suicide.
It's something that I think we, as a society, can't glaze over anymore, and we have to address, and we need to, pour funding into, and find out really what the root cause is as to why these kids are getting to the point where they feel like that's the only option.
Eli's project has hit the ground running, raising money and getting grants to train both adults and kids in youth mental health first aid. Like CPR, it can be life-saving.
This course really gives people ownership in, making that step and intervening, and sometimes that's what helps to mitigate these really terrible situations from happening.
Another resource, peer-centered groups for kids called Group 988s, named after the 3-digit suicide hotline.
We're going to bring these kids in a group setting and, train them to identify crises in their friends and who to talk to.
The groups are already going in KPAC schools and will soon get started in Okemos. The pain from Dr. Goldstein's loss fueling the passion behind the project he says Eli would have embraced.
For every Eli out there, there's 10 more that haven't been identified.
Dr. Goldstein and Eli's beloved dog take comfort in the wooded backyard Eli treasured, a garden, and in the center, a peace pole with the lyrics to Billy Joel's song, "Only the Good Die Young," one of Eli's favorites.
It was an absolutely horrific, terrible thing to lose him, but, in the 15 years he lived, he really lived him up.
Eli's hiking boots still sit on the front porch, a symbol he's still here through the heart he drew for his dad on the logo for the project he started.
And Eli's project is starting a 4-week summer camp for kids next year. Thanks to a $30,000 donation, the charity will be able to offer 10 full scholarships. Eli's project is also partnering with Moose Jaw to outfit the campers. A lot of exciting things ahead to help kids better communicate their feelings and support each other. You can find out more about Eli's project at WILX.com.
As part of our You're Not Alone series, we've been focusing on the impact cyberbullying has on our mental health. We spoke to rising stars who experience cyberbullying on a daily basis. Taylor Hale spoke about how she was attacked on social media with racist comments when being crowned Miss Michigan, and also when she competed on the national television show Big Brother.
I had multiple of these troll accounts would just pop up. You would block one, a new one would pop up. It was like playing whack-a-mole. It's whack-a-troll online, just constantly deleting these comments because they weren't necessary.
Okay.
Cyberbullying can be dangerous for your mental health, and it's a crime. Here's how to prevent becoming a victim online. Use your privacy settings. Look into what you can do to keep personal content off limits. Think before you post. Once it's out there, it's out there. Do not accept friend requests from strangers and guard against mean people. In other words, don't feed the trolls.
The most publicized mental health challenge veterans and service members face is post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD.
Coming up, meet a veteran struggling with his own mental health crisis, yet is known as a beacon for hope for others. We'll be right back.
22 a day. That phrase has become a call to action for advocates of Iraq and Afghanistan veterans, the group that seems to be most at risk of suicide.
And tonight, the story of one of those advocates, an Iraq War veteran who has made it his mission to tell fellow vets, you're not alone.
This is the Armed Forces.
A footlocker filled with military service memories that Doug Brinker is eager to share.
Those are the boots.
Brinker began his military career in the U.S. Navy in 1981, honorably discharged in '84, and that's when he says he began losing his sense of belonging and purpose.
So I lived in a really dark, black shadow of clouds and hopelessness.
15 years of broken relationships and more than 50 different jobs. It all came to a head on August 7th, 1999.
I didn't feel that I deserved to be on this earth and feeling hopeless and helpless, and so I made an attempt to end my life.
Unsuccessful, Doug turned to Lifeways, a mental health services agency in Jackson.
But I played a game. I took meds when I wanted to take them, and I went to therapy when I wanted to go, not when I needed to go.
That eventually led to a second suicide attempt in February of 2001.
I just felt that I had no purpose in this world. I had no meaning to exist.
Once again, Doug turned to Lifeways for help and to the military, enlisting in the Michigan Army National Guard in 2002.
I got the discipline back, I got structure, I got purpose, I got value and self-confidence.
Doug's tour of duty in Iraq lasted only 2 months when he came down with a near-fatal staph infection. And while he had to leave his band of brothers in the desert, the bands on his wrists remind him every day not to give in to the war within.
It sickens me to know that we've lost more veterans to suicide than Iraq and Afghanistan deaths combined.
When Doug Brinker walked through the doors of Lifeways after his first and second suicide attempts, he could never have imagined that he'd be working here, helping others one day himself. How long have you worked here at Lifeways?
It'll be 6 years, January 8th.
Once a consumer of Lifeways services, Doug Brinker is now a veteran peer support specialist here, offering hope.
Helping one person every day, at least one person.
H-O-P-E.
H-O-P-E.
And offering survival kits, which include gun locks.
Because if you keep a weapon secured at all times, the less likely of someone accessing using it for the wrong reasons.
And most importantly, he offers a listening ear.
To make sure that they know that they're not alone, that they have a full team of support underneath of them till they get through this crisis. So this means everything.
For his work at Lifeways, Doug Brinker has been called a beacon for hope, a description he proudly displays on his Jeep. And he uses every chance he gets to steer troubled vets toward the 988 crisis lifeline.
It's imperative to make it simpler to dial 988. If you're a veteran, press 1, and you're going to be connected with a veteran crisis specialist right away. This is all of Jackson County fighting war heroes, and then over here is dedicated to Iraq.
The names on the monuments at the Jackson Veterans Memorial are of those who died on the field of battle. Doug Brinker has dedicated his life to helping veterans here at home struggling with a mental health battle.
And so I look at all these great heroes that have laid the foundation for me and many other veteran advocates to be that beacon for hope and help those that are really hurting.
Whether it's lending a listening ear at Lifeways or promoting the 988 crisis lifeline, Doug Brinker faithfully upholds that familiar military motto.
No soldier left behind.
Kind of what you're doing now?
Kind of what I'm doing now. I wear a different uniform. I wear the uniform of the Veterans of Foreign Wars, but I wear a uniform of hope every day because I never know the next call might be life-saving.
And Doug has written a book. It tells his story, offers hope for other veterans going through what he did. It's 22 chapters long, one for each of the 22 veterans estimated to take their own lives every day.
While the holidays are typically joyous and a time of celebration, for some people it can be hard, especially if they've lost a loved one. Coming up after the break, I'm going to share one local woman's story on how she embraces her grief and has found new traditions for the holidays.
They say it's the most wonderful time of the year, but for many it is one of the most painful.
And as you can see in the stores, the holidays are greeting us earlier and earlier these days.
News 10's Maureen Halliday sat down with a Mid-Michigan woman who is sharing her story of grief to let you know
you're not alone.
Knowing, but you still want to hear the words, and then you hear those words, I regret to inform you that your husband was killed.
December 5th, 2014. It was like any other day for the Kunert family. Christine and Scott were busy chasing around their 3 teenage boys, Max, Holden, and Quinn. That day, Scott went to Holden's hockey game. It wasn't until just after 10 p.m. the world came to a stop for the Kunerts.
Through the night, I got a few texts. Holden's playing great in the hockey game. And then at about 10:15, I took a call from Holden who said, Mom, there's been an accident and the bus has been diverted. And I think it's Dad and Mrs. Andery.
Scott was driving back from Holden's hockey game with family friend Ellen Andery. While driving home on US 127 near Mount Pleasant, they were hit head-on by a wrong-way drunk driver. The driver and Scott died on impact, while Ellen was airlifted to Sparrow Hospital. The devastation was insurmountable.
I spent over a year with a different child in my bed every night, and I would hold them crying until they fell asleep. And then my sweet dog would curl up next to me, and every night, and as I quietly cried, he would lick my tears. You, as a parent, balance not pretending your grief isn't there, but I needed to grieve alone. They're missing their dad, their family unit. I'm missing my family unit, but I'm missing the person that I had planned to grow old with. Yeah. I'm missing my right hand.
All right, where are you here?
This was our last family trip. We were in Washington, D.C.
Now, 9 years later, Christine flips through family photos looking back on the life and love she shares with Scott.
People are afraid to say the person's name because they don't want to see them cry, but you don't forget. So, and it's so important to say the person's name who died. People want to hear it. They want to hear the stories. Even if you're going to cry, your person's not forgotten.
Embracing her grief is something Christine learned through group therapy at Ellie's Place, where she's the director. Christine and the kids went there a few months after Scott's death. It's where she learned how to keep Scott's memory alive during hard times like the holidays, hearing advice from people going through something similar.
The unwrapping of the big Christmas tree.
She said, so we always had a gift from my brother, and we would open it. And so you get these ideas. But yeah, the holidays I tried to keep it as similar as it was because life needs to go on, but also acknowledging and being honest that it's different.
While it's different now, the memory of Scott is everlasting.
He loved to be with his kids. He loved to be with his family. No matter how tired he was, I'll take that game. I'll do that. He loved to be with his kids.
Just the ultimate family man.
Yeah, he really was.
Yeah.
And he was dedicated to his profession, but he was all about his family.
The American Psychiatric Association offers these ways to cope with holiday stress. Practice meditation and mindfulness. Focus on living in the present moment. Remember, it's okay to say no. Prioritize what brings you joy. And finally, get fresh air and sunlight. Nature therapy can really do wonders. And speaking of nature, we have a great story coming up to end our program.
What you're about to see is literally all the buzz right now.
It's the buzz because it's all about beekeeping and how it's changing the lives of veterans right here in the community. You won't want to miss it. Stay with us.
Welcome back. We all know this. Animals can be great for our mental health. Dogs, cats, horses, even snakes.
But did you know bees have the power to heal? Claudia Sella went to Heroes to Hives and shows us the incredibly important work they do to better the lives of veterans and their families.
There's an old thing about beekeepers of talking to the bees. A beekeeper will go out and tell his whole life story. He would tell all the secrets to the bees.
Veteran Gary Brown's mornings start bright and early out with the bees. As the mornings get colder, he's checking how they're holding up inside the hives. It's a step Gary can't skip.
This is what a beekeeper has to do, whether they like it or not.
But Gary does like it. In fact, he loves every minute of it.
Beekeeping will change your life. I am a disabled vet. I'm a 60% retired U.S. Army veteran. I had 21 years in the Army, and I never thought I'd be a beekeeper.
Not only is Gary Master Beekeeper, he's a teacher for Heroes to Hives. Heroes to Hives is a hands-on therapeutic program through Michigan Food and Farming Systems. The program touches on financial and personal wellness of veterans through training and team building. And it's all centered around beekeeping.
We started this program up because we saw a need. Traumatic syndrome happens to anybody. Something that happened that just scared the daylights out of you can cause PTSD. Your mind is constantly in that state of awareness of this tragedy. This program, it brings your mind into a different realm.
Not every veteran has PTSD, but every veteran has some issue, and every veteran has moments in their life, right? And so for us to be able to be here for our veterans in our community, in particular those veterans that have served on foreign soil or combat veterans.
And Gary says he'll keep teaching because he sees how it's changing lives, just like it changed his.
And the farther we can spread that net, the better it is for all of us to be able to help each other and lift each other up.
I've had students that were just real quiet when I first started. Didn't want to work in the bee yard. They weren't ready. By the time they realize it, they're working in that hive, and it brings them right out. And when I walk them up and hand them their graduation certificate, they got a big smile on their face. because they didn't realize they could do it.
What are you most proud of about this program and your role in this program?
That's a really good question. It's amazing what has come to me in this program. I just can't tell you the joy I get out of helping people. I get a lot of excitement out of teaching this program because it's so important.
Thank you for tuning in to our mental health special. We have many helpful resources for you at WILX.com.
And if you're feeling like you may harm yourself or have a plan to do so, call the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Just dial 988. Help is available any time of the day.
You can also go to the emergency room. Please remember, you are worth fighting for.
You're not alone.